I record this podcast inside a cute little retro caravan from 1967 that I tow around all over the place.
Van Podcast with Rabbit.
Amanda and Ed from the Not Quite Right podcast are in here with me. There's a lot of branding going on in this pod van right now. Good hoodies.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, and we love your shirt too.
I had my hoodie on just before. We could have all had brand. And what's funny is, you're another podcast. I think you're the first podcast that I've had on my podcast.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. If you talk about this on your podcast, then it's a podcast within a podcast within a
I
podcast.
think we will.
How meta. Yeah.
Very meta. You're right. I was going to say Inception.
Yeah.
But we've probably moved past Inception now. Meta.
No, I still love a bit of Inception.
Yeah. Do you know what's funny? Hearing your voices, because I've listened to your podcast, isn't it funny when you meet someone and you know their voice
absolutely.
and you've been listening?
Well, naturally, we know your voice
Yes.
as well.
From the podcast or radio?
Well, from the radio. I mean, I was listening to you God knows how long ago on Nova.
Oh, my God. Wow. That was a while ago.
It was a while ago. And actually, I wanted to say to you, I think you must have had a side hustle at the time because I think you were the personal trainer for one of my oldest friends.
Who?
Her name's Karen.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
I think about Karen all the time.
Do you?
Yes. That is so funny.
Let her know that you think about her all the time.
Yeah. I just wonder where she is and how she's going and stuff.
Yeah, she's good.
She was, and I talk about her sometimes as well when I talk about my old personal training days. Yes, it was a side hustle. And, I've done that my whole life because, like, when I was doing Brekkie Radio here, I was renovating caravans when I got home each day. I'd be home by 9:30 and I just can't sit still. And my wife and kids, they're all off doing their things during the day, whatever they do, school and work and stuff.
And you assume.
I get Good point. I've never even asked them. They're just not there, and I just assume my wife's a school teacher. I presume that's what she's doing. Yeah, so I did it during COVID. I've always wanted to flip an apartment. My wife won't let me because I've got to buy it and have a mortgage while no one's in it and stuff. And she said, why don't you get a caravan? Just do that. And I loved it.
Yeah.
And it sold like within 24 hours.
Yeah, much more achievable, I guess. Smaller project.
Yeah. And then so I did 9 of them. Caravans. And then when all the stuff happened with the radio, I decided to build this into this caravan.
I saw the before and after photos on your website. It's
Of this one?
Yeah, this one, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a great transformation.
It's come a long way. Although I did just notice today, I was looking at some things around and I went, yeah, it's time for a bit of a fix up. It's seen some Ks, this thing.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of broken things as I look around. So I just won't look around. But yeah, so there's the side hustle thing, I think, has just been keeping my brain busy.
But I think that's most creative types, right? Like, you can't just settle with one outlet. Because when that one's not giving, you've got to have something else going on as well.
And that's what happened with the radio one with Nova, is that my shift changed and then I was just doing essentially like a 3-hour music shift. So there wasn't too much. I think I was allowed to speak for like 8 seconds at a time. That kind of thing. Like, that's my brain needs more.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I got all my personal trainer qualifications. And when I talk about Karen, I talk about the different people and what they use something like personal training for. And I think for her, it was someone to chat to.
That sounds so accurate.
Does it? Now that I'm saying it to someone who actually knows her, like, oh no, this might get back to her. But I did. Because there was one guy, Sebastian, I had to, I want to say flog him, but that probably won't sound right. I offered many services, but no, he was one who he had a goal and he was like, just smash me for an hour. I want to drop all of this weight. And there were so many different personalities and what they wanted out of it. And Karen, if I tried to push her too hard, she had no interest in that. She couldn't talk if I was doing that.
She got too out of breath and couldn't talk. Yeah.
And so I had to realise that. And it's like that thing of knowing your target market and who your customer is. Kind of thing.
Yeah, and look, I can joke about it, but I wouldn't be much different, I don't think so.
I just want to chat.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, that's funny. Boy, we go way back then. Yeah, what about you and I, Ed? How far back do we go?
I don't think we do.
Not at all.
No.
Not
I
at
think we have
all.
a connection.
Which
My wife was
surprises-
saying, actually, I think that our kids may have gone to Scallywags for gymnastics at the same time.
But you wouldn't know anything about that,
as your
obviously.
kids.
I have kids. Scallywags, where's that?
Just
here or in Sydney?
In Wyoming.
I remember it.
I think she heard you talking about it on the radio and thinking, oh, that's where our kids go.
Wait, is it in Wyoming? Did you say
In
Brooks
Wyoming?
Ave?
Yeah, I think so.
Is it even still there? I just remember the name, Scallywags. Yeah, it's like a kinder gym kind of thing, was it?
Yeah, like a gymnastics thing for kids.
Yeah. Okay, well, there's our link. I would have thought, like, listening to your podcast, it is so well produced. Like, the quality of it. Look at Amanda. She's just looking over at Ed.
I'm very proud of him.
She's so proud. It is so well produced, and so many podcasts aren't. There are some that and you, obviously, you're an audio nerd. I can say that because I've heard your podcast. I know you are, because you get the quality. Sounds good.
It takes a lot of work, and as you'd know, I mean, we're just saying you're recording here right on the side of the water.
Yeah.
There's a lot of background noise.
Yeah.
And that's 90% of what you have to deal with to make something sound good is trying to cut that out and minimize it to sound clear. That's most of it. And the other half is the editing, I think, that we do. Otherwise, we record... we record about a good 5 hours worth of audio.
This is what I was wondering. Because your episodes can be... Is it an hour? Is it 2 hours?
It can be longer.
Whatever it needs to be. It's been, I mean, I think on average probably an hour and a half. We go over that. Now, I've heard episodes of yours and they're like 2 hours, and yet as I'm listening to it, I'm going, this is edited though. Oh, yeah. And I wouldn't say heavily edited, but I definitely know it's all killer, no filler. That's what I'm hearing. Completely. And in the podcast world, there's actually not a lot of that. Yeah. There's a lot of ums and ahs, which isn't the end of the world. My last podcast that I put up, well, as we record this, was my last one, with Julie Goodwin, 0 edit on it. And it is utter nonsense. Yeah. And it just goes in a million different directions. And there's no flow, and there was absolutely no preparation for it. And that one, I just went, but that one works. Yeah. That can work. That can work. That just is what it is. Yeah.
When it's natural.
But then there's other ones that I hear, and I just think, if you just chop that. Quite often, because it is a massively time-consuming process. You know that. And there's times when I'm like, it was a good chat. In fact, it was a great chat, and I could probably just leave that as is. And then it just, I don't know, it's like an itch. I'm just like, all right, I'll just go in and tidy it up. Because I figure if you can make it better, why wouldn't you? Absolutely. You want to polish it. Make it as good as you can. Yeah. So by now, people are going, well, so what's their podcast? So not quite right, but it's WRITE. That's right. It's not like a mental health one or something.
I don't know. Arguably. Yeah. I've been on the couch a couple of times getting counselled, but yeah.
I like your use of music in it as well, actually. There was one, was it just recently, where... Were you doing an apology to Ed?
Yeah.
And then
that was added in post.
That was Oh, you didn't bring that in with you? That stuff can really add to it, but again, it takes a lot of time and work to put into that. So I just wanted to say kudos to you for making a good sounding podcast.
Yeah.
And the content is just awesome. Was it you that I said I was nervous about writing to in my email? Yeah. Because you literally, this is what you do, you critique authors.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I guess the podcast is largely a chat about writing. So for anybody who's interested in creative writing or fiction writing, it's just a chat about that, really. But we also have this competition that we run, which is a flash fiction competition. And so we talk about that on the podcast, and that's when the critique comes in, I suppose. But we are also, I suppose, critiquing, other media. Like we recommend books to each other or movies, and then rip shit into them, basically. Whatever the other person loves, just really try and crush it. That's my objective anyway. I don't know about you.
Do you plan for those then? Do you go, I want to talk about this new Netflix show, you need to watch it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we take it in turns recommending each other, like books and movies and TV shows a lot of the time. And so one episode we do the recommendation, the next episode we talk about it. Yeah. So what did we talk about on the last episode? We spoke about...
Well, it depends if you're talking about what's been released or not, but you forced me cruelly to watch Adolescence.
We haven't recorded that.
Okay. That's that was the last recommendation.
What, you haven't recorded it yet?
No, she's watched
it. You had to tell her that you haven't recorded that yet? Are you not aware of when you're recording and when you're not?
No joke. I feel like we've recorded it.
Because you've talked about it
and just
off air?
Yeah, basically.
Yeah. All right, so quick preview of that one then. What'd you think? You didn't like it. You said cruelly, so you didn't like it.
I loved it.
Yeah.
I think it's absolutely amazing, but also incredibly bleak. incredibly stressful to watch.
Yeah.
And as a parent, just very much makes you reflect on your own circumstances. So a beautiful piece of art, beautiful piece of art, and a lot of, quality in the way the story's told as well. And obviously when we're critiquing things, we're critiquing the writing more than anything. I mean, we're critiquing the experience of the piece of media, but the writing on that is amazing.
For those who haven't seen it, and it's funny, you could be describing Black Mirror in that exact same style. Brilliantly made, so well written, really upsetting and disturbing.
And yet we love it for some reason.
I've got to be in the right mood to watch a Black Mirror. And I know it's going to be a great episode. Oh, God, please, anyone listening to this that goes, oh, Black Mirror, I'll put that on my list. You may not get past episode 1. No. Do you remember episode 1?
Yeah, with the pig?
The pig.
Oh, God.
The Prime Minister and the pig. So my wife said to me just the other night, I said, have you ever watched this Black Mirror stuff? And because we don't watch TV together. And she goes, in fact, I don't even know where she is and what she's doing.
Are you sure you're married?
Mandy doesn't know when she's recording podcasts.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm married. There's a lady in my house all the time. She's saved in my phone as wife.
Oh.
Maybe that's just her name. So
this could be a Black Mirror episode in its life.
Oh, no. Now I know it's not going to work out. But she said, oh, yeah, I tried, but that first episode, I never got past it. Yeah, I get that. Don't go with the first episode. Go with something else.
I quite like the Miley Cyrus episode, actually.
Oh, I haven't seen that. I definitely haven't seen all of them. Is she in one?
Yeah.
Really?
She's the main character in one of the episodes. It's around a doll, like an AI sort of, or like a animatronic.
How would you even describe Black Mirror? I think it's to do with turning the mirror on ourselves as society.
Well, apparently the Black Mirror is the screen, right? Like if you've got a phone, it's like a black screen, and it's the metaphor of that, I suppose.
Amazing. The episodes they do that are on like phones and social media and that kind of thing. The one where like as you like gain credits as you're in real life.
Yeah, isn't that Ron Howard's daughter? Is that her? Who's the one?
Oh, wow.
The one in Jurassic World?
Bryce Dallas Howard.
Yeah. Is that her?
I remember the day I met her.
Oh, okay.
Here's a cool story. So she did a movie, I can't remember what it's called, but it was terrifying. It's a horror, and in the movie they wear these yellow cloaks.
Okay.
I can't remember what it was, but anyway, she was coming into the radio station to do an interview, and the producers had sent out one of these yellow cloaks.
Oh.
So I stood in the lift in the cloak, waiting for the doors to open for her to walk in. And yeah, it got the right reaction.
That wasn't the M. Night Shyamalan,
yes,
Village?
The Village.
The Village.
Yeah, okay. Yep.
Yeah, It was disturbing as well. Thank you for bringing all these things up. So much
I
disturbing.
told you it's a little bit of a mental health situation when you start going into the
I'm going to come out of this not quite right.
mission accomplished.
It's our place in this world. Yeah, so you watched Adolescence. I think I was about halfway through the second episode before I clicked to the one camera thing.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I watched it before I knew it was a thing. I think it had just come out and I hadn't seen anything online about it. And I'll just watch it. And after episode 1, I'm like, that was awesome. Rolled into the second one. Halfway through, I'm like, I feel like this is a one shot. This is they call it a oneer, where it's just the one camera through the entire episode.
Yeah.
So 60 minutes or however long.
Yeah.
And no cuts. And I think some of them I think a couple of them were done in one take.
Yeah.
They planned, I read a bit behind the scenes, they planned like 2 takes a day. So a morning and an afternoon take, and they just do it again and again until they got it right. One of the episodes was 14 takes.
Yeah.
So you're just doing the same scene day in, day out.
It's you hit record and we go action, and then if you're 48 minutes in and someone trips over and you can't really recover the scene from that, everybody back to one.
And then
whoa. Imagine being the one who's in that scene at the 55-minute mark.
I think I saw like a reel about that, like the extra who just comes in and stops off the scene.
That's great. What a crazy amount of pressure to put on yourself to go, let's do it this way.
And we're talking child actor as well. Yeah. Like, he was amazing. He was absolutely
He was
amazing.
in these incredible, massive, heavy scenes where his personality would change during the scene, and it was all one take. That's incredible. So you're going to be critiquing that one.
Yeah. And I mean, I had a heads up about the one take thing, so I was watching it from the beginning, but it's incredibly impressive. And it's not just a party trick either, because I think it would be easy to just think, oh, we're just doing this, I don't know, so people will notice us or something. But it's actually a very compelling way to shoot that because you're very deeply engaged in what's going on. And it's all in real time. So I must say, and I guess I'm preempting our conversation a little bit, but there were a couple of awkward expositional moments where basically the characters had to explain why things like the police procedure was so quick. Because, of course, police procedure is never quick, but we're trying to get things crammed into an hour.
Oh, right.
I can't think of any quotes off the top of my head, but just some lines where they're like, so anyway, the reason we're here all of a sudden is because of some,
because of this
flimsy
thing
explanation
has happened, and so we must get this done right now, as opposed to in about 3 weeks. The way it would normally.
Exactly.
Yeah, you're right as far as it being a trick, but it's not just the trick. The whole thing is really well done, but I think it has gained so much talk because of that one-er.
It is
aspect.
impressive.
Have you seen The Studio?
Oh, I don't know.
Oh.
The movie?
No, it's a new one on Apple TV. And it's...
Oh, that's... what's Seth Rogen? Seth Rogen?
Yeah.
No, I haven't seen it. I've heard about it.
Yeah. Well, there's an episode in that called The One-er, and the whole episode, talk about meta, the whole episode is about them as a studio, as a movie studio, trying to film this big one-er scene, this one-shot scene, yet the actual whole episode is a one-shot scene.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Love it.
And it's incredible when you know that. So I heard that on Armchair Expert when they were talking to him about it, and they were talking about that episode and how they shot it like that. If I hadn't heard that before watching the episode, I wouldn't have even known. I wouldn't have clicked that it was a one-shot. I feel like knowing the one about adolescence, when you watch it, when you know that, you're kind of looking for it, and you do notice other things in that. The one on The Studio, the way it was done, like I said, I wouldn't have even picked it because they turn up in a car at the start, and this whole crazy stuff happens all through it, and then they leave in the car at the end. And when you know that was all one camera, it's amazing. Yeah.
Well, I'm just thinking in adolescence too, when they go to this like drone shot.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what is this camera they're using? I need to go Google it. Like,
I saw that one. I saw the behind the scenes of that one. And someone's walking in, following this guy into, I think it's a car park or something like that. And then, the behind the scenes of that is as they're walking along behind them, someone else has got a drone that they're connecting to the top of the camera. So it like clicks onto it.
Okay.
And then that camera, and then he lets go of it, and the drone lifts up.
Wow. Yeah.
And they had this rig on the front of the car in one of the scenes, and same in the studio one. So they're just like
putting the camera very gently in the rig or something.
Yes.
Oh my God.
While filming.
Yeah. That's
pretty clever.
Yeah. And you're just hoping it's strapped in properly, otherwise you're the reason for that take.
Love to hear all the stories of the behind the scenes of filming those ones. So, okay, so you critique movies, TV shows. Yeah, and books, obviously.
Yeah, but we're time poor, so we don't tend to torture each other.
Yeah, there haven't been that many books.
Because the books take
a while.
A long time to do. I'm interviewing an author soon, actually. Oh, that's how we met.
Yes.
Digitally. That's right. The Words on the Waves Festival. They reached out to me and said, would you come along and moderate a session, have a chat to Julia Baird?
Yep.
And about her book. And the first one was just ginormous. And Julie Goodwin was telling me all about that. And so I'm talking to her in a few weeks, and I've got the book. Got to read it. Right. Finding that time. My reading pretty much consists of in bed, on the phone, 2 chapters.
Well, we run the Not Quite Right prize for flash fiction, so all of our reading is the flash fiction stories that we receive.
Yeah, it's not like I'm not reading.
Yeah. How many words? 500?
500
words.
Yeah.
Well done. On creating a competition that means you don't have to spend ages reading things.
That was part of the motivation. I mean, we say that, but then, by the time you're hundreds of stories in, it does actually add up to a decent amount of words.
So you run this flash fiction. Is that a thing, or did you make it up?
No, it's definitely a thing.
Right.
Someone else made it
It's
up.
a thing. We didn't invent this flash fiction. So
we'll take credit for it, though.
Yeah, sure.
Explain it. What is that? It's 500 words?
Well, I mean, the definition, I guess, varies depending on who you ask, but it's just very short piece of fiction. And usually it's about a scene's worth. So you're not going to get a whole epic story in. It's basically a scene, but there's also something called microfiction, and I think the definition kind of blurs a little between the two. But from my perspective, flash fiction is a story that's maybe, say, from 350 words up to maybe 1,500 words kind of thing, and after that it becomes a short story. Microfiction is something, say, under 350 words.
Wow.
There's all sorts of different little tags in there too. You've got drabbles, which are exactly 100 words.
Exactly?
Yeah. You know, there's a community of people who just love the challenge of writing exactly 100 words. So in our case, our flash fiction competition is 500 words. But some people would call that microfiction. So it's there's no real fixed definition.
So you're getting the beginning, middle and end in that?
Yes, you definitely need a beginning, middle and end, but it's not the beginning and middle and end of the kind of story you might see in a novel.
Yeah.
The beginning, middle and end of a scene, usually.
That makes sense when you say a scene. It's someone has walked into a room and this is happening.
Yeah, and I mean, usually you wouldn't even show them walking in the room. They're already there because you just don't have time to
There's no
have
time
any
to
of
walk
this
into
set
a
up.
room.
Yeah, there really isn't.
He looks down at the scene in front of him. Dang. There you go. There's your prompt for the next one.
Yeah, exactly.
Because you do have prompts and you do have themes for them. What is this super spicy one you're doing at the moment?
Oh, that's a separate competition. That's the not quite right prize for flesh fiction.
So flesh fiction is a thing as well.
I think we came up with that one.
I think we might have coined that one. So, yeah, it's an erotic fiction competition, very short. So we've given a few more words because we...
Wait, when you say that, did you hear it? We're going to put a pause between an and erotic because it sounded like a neurotic competition.
Yeah, that's every competition I enter. No, erotic fiction, spicy fiction. But yeah, we've allowed 1,500 words because we think you need a little bit more set up in that sort of situation. So,
what? And that one's running at the moment?
Yes, that's running now.
So you're getting submissions?
Yes.
Are you reading them yet?
Oh, yeah.
We're having a little bit of a browse.
Little
through
peek.
them.
Yeah. Have you been shocked by anything?
Yeah. Although when I say shocked, it's not so much the shock because I knew it was coming, but it's like, okay, all right, we're here.
Oh, wow. You really went there.
Yeah, exactly.
What would be disturbing is if your answer to that question was no.
I mean, we have got used to many of our entrants are a bit wild, so we get some spicy stories in the regular
And
comp
that's pretty
too.
much why we started it, because we were getting some spicy entries in the regular comp, so we thought, why not?
There's demand here.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also we just think it's fun. So, yeah, and it has been fun so far, but that's running until August 24th. So we're accepting entries anytime from now until August 24th.
Yeah.
And yeah, spicy stories up to 1,500 words. But there is a caveat, and the caveat is that they have to find a way of making something unsexy sexy. So that's the challenge.
That's the theme.
Oh, right.
Yeah. So, you know, I don't know what it might be.
What have you seen?
What have we seen so far?
Of the making something unsexy sexy?
Oh, it's difficult because I don't want to call out any specific
True.
ones.
They might be listening and go, oh, that's my one.
There was an interesting one involving a historical figure that you wouldn't normally associate with anything spicy. That's getting a little bit of a sex scene
good
going
look.
on.
Okay.
And things like, I mean, ghosts, but then Patrick Swayze already did that. So.
Yeah.
But that's fine. Anything that's not typically seen as sexy, I guess, being made sexy. What else? Oh, and a few that have sort of gone with the middle-aged body and making that sexy, which is
Wait, what do you mean?
appreciated.
Yeah, this is news to
It is in these stories, that's for sure.
You know, I appreciate you supporting the Podvan podcast so much. And there's a couple of businesses that I really appreciate as well, because they've been on board with me since day one. And I'd love to introduce you to them. And if you could support them, that'd be amazing. First off, Kincumber Mitre 10. Whether you're tackling a DIY project or you need some expert advice, they've got you covered. And a handy hint for you, if you're a senior, you can swing by on Tuesdays for a 10% discount. If you're not a senior, whack on a grey wig, let me know how you go. Also, they've got the Principal Kitchens range, which are stylish, they're durable, they're Australian-made kitchen solutions, and they are schmick-o. And of course, Wanderlin Bowling Club, right there on the shores of Lake Macquarie. They do delicious meals from the Dish Catering Group upstairs in the bistro, and you can dine out on the balcony looking out over the lake. It is beautiful. The entertainment, top notch. They've got Friday night seafood raffles. They've got a DJ on Saturday nights and Sunday sessions with live music in the beer garden. It's a good spot to hang out. You want to find out what's happening at the club? Check out their Facebook page or visit gwandolynbowlingclub.com.au.
Podman Podcast with Rabbit.
Do you publish them all? What happens with these stories?
Yeah, so we don't publish them all, but for the regular comp, we publish a collection. In fact, I have a little gift for you.
Oh, go on. This is the only reason I do this podcast. Oh, wow. I mean, of course, you're published.
No, so this is last year's winning and shortlisted stories for the regular Not Quite Right prize for flash fiction. So it's full of 500-word stories.
Oh, this is cool. Okay, so you get the story, and then you get about the author, author's insights, Ed's comments, Amanda's comments.
Yeah, so a little bit of comments about maybe what they did well or what, I guess, gripped us. When we read
this
that
is
story.
so cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
What a great idea, because for someone like me who doesn't have a massive attention span outside of the podcast, that's a chapter before bed.
Yeah, exactly. And a lot of variety there too. So if you're the kind of person who doesn't just like to read the same thing over and over again, you've got comedy, you've got dark and depressing, you've got, a whole range of stuff, romance.
Yeah, there's poetry in there.
So it's really...
I read the blurb on the back cover. You'll laugh, you'll cry, you'll need a cold shower.
Pretty much.
What a great one for people who love books. So are you authors?
Yes, yeah. So I am currently working on a middle grade novel, which I've been working on for quite some time, and our listeners will know, as in Not Quite Right's listeners will know what a struggle that's been. But we both write flash fiction as well, and we enter other competitions and have had some success there, which is good fun. But it is a whole community. The flash fiction world is this community, so it's across the world. But on social media, for example, you'll just find your pockets of people and you see their names crop up in lit magazines, and in this kind of situation, it's the same sorts of people that you hear their names again and again, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
So we formed joined an existing community of flash fiction lovers, which is good fun.
Do you get entries from all over the world?
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. So that's why when you're saying hundreds, I mean, there's this whole thing now, these days especially, where it's kind of like the geographical borders don't matter anymore.
No, not at all.
In the digital age, in the social media age and that, you can have someone I have people listening to this podcast from, oh man, when you look at the stats and see where they're, or yours would be even more so, I think, but because you've got a niche field, you writers, authors, people that love books, all the stuff around that. Mine's all over the place. So people, I don't know how they find me.
It's very random. Like you look at the stats and see, we're trending in Sierra Leone.
Yeah.
Yeah. What?
Which market did I break into? It's one that I'd always wanted to. Oh, I know. Oh, where is he? I think it's one guy.
It could be. Yeah, it could be.
In Azerbaijan.
Trying to remember where he... Yeah. But Ireland, apparently, they don't mind the Podvan podcast.
Nice.
I do. Yeah, I just love seeing different ones popping up and going, what are you doing? I mean, welcome.
Yeah.
That's great. Where do you get entries from?
Yeah, from everywhere.
Yeah, from everywhere.
I think we are probably about 50% Australia, and then mostly UK and US. I mean, the stories are in English, so you'd expect that most of them come from English-speaking countries.
Anything to tweak for other non-English-speaking countries?
No, and in fact, some of the entries we get, it's evident that English is someone's second, third, fourth language, right? You can tell.
Yeah, God, imagine if you went back to them and just went, well done, considering English isn't your second language. It's your second language. And they go, I'm from Dubbo.
That explains. No, just kidding. I
don't know why I always use Dubbo as an example of like a, regional Australia kind of thing, because I took the pod van there and I had the absolute best time, got the most amazing episodes. I got 9 episodes from a weekend there. And some of my favourites, like the people there are beautiful. It's such a great community.
Oh, yeah, just watch you walk in that comment back there.
Yeah. I think, in fact, the first part probably has been chopped out by now, so I don't even know why I'm saying this. Right, okay, so you got that one going. What other topics have you had for the entries in the past for the competitions?
Yeah, so usually we challenge people to break a rule of writing. That's one of the things that we do as part of our comp. I guess that's a little bit different from some of the other comps. And so I guess people are breaking different rules each time.
What kind of rules?
Okay, so a rule, well, the one that we're judging right now, the comp is closed, is kill your darlings. So that's something you hear a lot in writing. And kill your darlings basically means those little pet things that you love about your writing. They're probably not serving the story. They just make you feel like I'm clever, or that you love it because it appeals to you, but it's not really serving your story. So our challenge to people, the rule is get rid of those. And we're saying maybe keep something, but make it work. Like make your darling work.
But the challenge is to do it in a way that doesn't make the story worse.
Yeah.
Which is what the rule is there.
Doesn't make it work or doesn't make it worse?
Doesn't make it worse. Because the rule is there to make a story better. So how can you do that while making your story good? So it's quite I'd say an advanced
it's
challenge.
tricky. And look, we've just been in discussions about this because I think people really do struggle with it because it does tend to make your story worse if you're not following these rules of writing. So,
So you'll see entries come in from the same people.
Yep.
Comp after comp. And you would see those little darlings.
Well, when we judge the stories, we don't have people's names. It's blind judging. So we find the names out later. But yes, there's certainly some people who we know. And, I've made friends in this community online. So, I go back and check which story was theirs. And you do get, I guess, a sense of people's writing style for sure.
Sometimes you guess, sometimes you're right.
Yeah, sometimes I guess, I bet this story was that person, but I'm not always right.
But I was going to say, sometimes you'd be surprised to find out someone that you know well through their writing, through the community, and that one comes along and then you go back and look and go, that was yours?
Yeah, exactly.
That is so different.
Definitely.
Yeah, and it's really cool to watch people grow as well, because we do also offer critiques for people, like to read their story thoroughly and give detailed comments on them. And some people have come back again and again for that. And watching them grow is really rewarding. It's like I can see how you're improving your craft basically as you move along.
Yeah.
So.
And another thing we do is offer what we call a daredevil. Which is
I was thinking there's something to do with a devil, and I really like it. And that's where someone can actually request to be ripped apart.
Yeah, so we read the story on the podcast and then we'll break it apart in the manner of a critique. But I guess, we talk about it for about half an hour or so. We get in pretty deep and we, advise our entrants to have a glass of wine or maybe a shot of whiskey to get through that.
And some of them come back.
Yeah, some of them come back.
Again and
again.
Do it again.
Yeah. This is the funny thing about writers, is that writers are really just a completely masochistic bunch. The rejection you face as a writer, and this is true in most art forms, right? But the constant repeated rejection that writers face is probably up there, I reckon, with any creative pursuit. And so they're used to it. And it becomes like a part of the process is like the critique and people not liking your work and getting ripped apart and all of that sort of stuff.
Is that right?
Yeah. So I think there's some people who just embrace that and go, well, this is growth, like if you're going to tell me maybe what I didn't do very well, but I'm going to grow from that. Yeah. So
it's so powerful.
Yeah.
If you can harness that, if you can put aside your ego and pride, and how close you would get to a story. And if you think that this is the best thing I've ever done.
Yep, it's your baby.
Yeah. And
it's hard, and I don't know that I could do it. I tend to err on the side of preferring critique, just blind praise, for example, because I don't trust blind praise.
No.
I've never had any. Talk to me about what this sounds like.
Yeah, I mean, you must have faced your fair share of critique over the years, having such a public persona.
Yeah, it was actually, I hated it. Not the public side of it, but the program director. When you go into the office, and I've had different ones over the years and different styles of them doing it. I had one tell me that was the worst half hour of radio I've heard in my life.
Wow. Okay.
So that's
and you survived that, so you could be a writer.
It's hard to grow from that, because
you can't go down, right? You got to go up.
You really can't, because and this is someone who'd heard a lot of radio in their life, and that was the first thing that came into my mind was, you've heard a lot of radio, and I just gave you the worst half hour you've ever heard. But what was weird about that was I think that came off the back of being ripped apart over each break through that half hour and actually playing it to us, playing us the audio and then going, what are you thinking? Why would you say that? Why are you doing this? And
well, because I'm stressed. That's why.
Are you saying he was doing that while, in between?
But the ads are playing.
No. 9 o'clock. 9 o'clock after the show.
Okay.
So after a brekkie show, to go into an office, and it used to be like a daily thing where you go in and sit down and listen back through breaks. So they've made notes through the show, and then, obviously the goal there is to, let's get tomorrow's show better. But I remember that one clearly because we ripped apart everything, and then it finished with, that was the worst half hour of radio I've heard in my life. And then the very next thing was, all right, bring in the whiteboard. What are we doing tomorrow? What do you got?
Yeah.
And I'm like, Mom, I'm not saying a thing.
Yeah. I'm going to shut up, and hopefully that'll be an improvement for you.
It's strange. A director thought that the way to get a good half hour would be to rip apart your confidence completely and demolish you. Doesn't seem like a great way of doing it.
Different. What I've learned through the years, though, in that is different people, and like with that personal training thing I was saying, different people react in different ways. To me, that was soul crushing. I did not have it in me at that point to go, all right, I'm going to do better tomorrow. What can I do? I want to do that. I just went, I'm useless at this, and oh God, my job is in jeopardy, and what am I going to do?
To be fair, I think that's how almost everyone would respond.
Exactly.
It's a bit different if what you hear is, look, that wasn't your best, and, I need to see an improvement tomorrow.
I think what you need
that was the worst ever.
Maybe some specific constructive feedback, not just, sorry, this is useless.
I think what needs to go hand in hand personally, and because I'm producing other podcasts now, and I am back and forth with them all the time, and I hear things and I'll go, hey, maybe try this. Have you thought about this? And I'll say to them, do you want me giving you this? Because all I'm here for is to make a better product for you, and I want to help you grow. Because I hear things and just go, if you've done it this way, and then I'll explain why. It's like what you said about the writing and not having the bit in there about walking into the room. Just start from being in the room.
Yeah.
So same with the podcast. Sometimes I'll go, the bit you did there, if you started it here and I explain why, and then they go,
Yeah. And that's not personal, right? That's just like, look, here's a piece of information that will help you improve. And I think, if you can take that on board, then you will improve.
If it's framed in a way of
it's not personal.
And it's like, the whole point of us having this conversation is I want the best for you.
Yeah.
And I believe that is behind what happened in that air check, that meeting. That program director did want the Brekkie show to be better.
You're being very kind there, I think.
Oh, listen, I could look back at all the things I did radio. There's so many things that I did where I was just an absolute dick. I look back at it and go, what a moron.
It's hard when you're going live too. I mean, the pressure's on always. So
Yeah. And, that thing of, I love that saying of, do your best until you know better, then do better. And I have no doubt that one that was in that meeting that was delivering that news probably didn't go on and do that again. Probably saw the reaction from everybody and went,
whoops, too far.
Okay, now I've scared them.
Yeah. But I think, in writing as well, like many creative pursuits, it helps to have feedback, right? And people are seeking that out because, especially in the competition world that we're in with flash fiction, you're sending your entries in and you're getting nothing back. And you're like, well, what am I doing wrong?
I didn't make the finalists.
Yeah, I didn't get anywhere, and I'm consistently not getting anywhere. Why not? And we have that insight because we're seeing on the other side how that story compares across. And it's like, it's not that you're a bad writer. And I think a lot of people take that like, I didn't make your long list or I didn't make your short list, I must be a bad writer. And it's just simply not the case. But they don't have the insight of what is that, for example, little tip that would just get me through, and so I love the fact that we can provide that, but also people provide that to each other. So you have beta readers, so friends, I guess, that you ask to read your story for you, or colleagues, and they give you some feedback, you give them some feedback, you kind of swap stories. That's really common in our community as well. But that's such a challenge too, because you really need to find the right critique partner who gives you the kind of feedback you're going to respond positively to and grow from. You need someone who's got your best interests at heart, but also someone who gets you, because how someone writes is very personal. Yeah. And if you're getting feedback of like, well, I didn't like that because I don't like romance, for example.
Yeah.
That's not helpful because the writer loves romance and that's what they want to write. So you've got to find the right person to give you the right feedback.
Yeah, someone's saying that's the worst short story I've ever read.
Probably not the right partner for anybody, to be fair.
Have you seen ones? So do you go back and once you've done the judging, then do you go back and look at all of them to see like who was who, or just some that you're curious about?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't go through and read all again because, again, we've established that's a lot of reading, but certainly people who I've come to know, I might go back and check which story they read, and I'll probably remember it and think, oh, okay, that's a surprise or not.
Yeah, so what I'm wondering is, have you seen ones that weren't making the long list or the short list, and then, I don't even know what the long list is, I presume it's just a
bigger short list.
Yeah, essentially.
And I love that you do that. So what do you got? You've got the winner.
Yep.
And then you've got finalists?
Well,
or is it just straight short list?
The short list is our
finalists.
runners-up, basically.
And then you've got long list, and then you've got your submission has been received. The participation award.
Well, the cool thing about being able to debrief on the podcast is that we can give this kind of global feedback to people as well. So even if you didn't get on the shortlist and hear your story read and hear our comments, you're getting sort of global feedback where you're like, oh, like we might say an issue we commonly saw was XYZ, and they can say, oh yeah, I did that. And they can self-reflect basically. I think that's super helpful.
We do like a 2-hour long list episode where we talk about the stories each round, and that's not to go through any specific stories and call people out by name, although we do say like our favourite titles, our favourite first line. So even if you didn't make the long list, there's still elements of your story that we liked or, you know, want to call out.
Yeah.
That's where we do it. So it's not like you're just throwing it into the void as with so many competitions and you just don't hear anything back.
The reason I was asking about with you, like check names and whose was hers, is I want to know, have you seen ones that have gone from not making the long list to making the long list to making the short list?
Yes, we've definitely seen improvements over time. We've had past winners or people who've come second or like right up the top who have then not made the long list in subsequent comps. Yeah. So there's a huge element of luck too. And this is what I say, that just because you don't make a long list doesn't mean like you can't write or that you're a terrible writer or it's rubbish or any of that. It's like, look, that particular story just didn't resonate for whatever reason. So it is interesting sometimes to go back and realise that someone whose writing I love, and I might read their writing online for other things too, failed to make the long list. And you're like, oh, wow, okay, let me see why. Because I love their writing. So what was it this time?
And then do you get it? Then you go back and look at that one and go, oh, yeah, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
I see why I didn't put that one
happened.
through. Yeah.
I know there was an instance once where a friend entered, and this was earlier on in the competition, and this is a friend who we share critiques. We're in the same writers group, so we're very familiar with each other's writing, and I love her writing. And she didn't make the long list, and I went back and read it, and I'm like, damn it, she really should have.
Oh, okay.
So that was upsetting.
But do you think she should have because now you know it's her?
No, it was more a case of, I think, just getting unlucky and maybe just not seeing the story's qualities at the time because it's so subjective and you're not judging.
I was just going to say, it is really subjective.
Yeah.
My daughter got 100% on an English assignment the other day. I know.
Very good.
I know. I always say to her, I think 50%'s the pass mark.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the way I made it through school.
Yeah,
not all the way through school, but... And the thing that shocked me about it was... I said to her, in maths, the answer is right or wrong. So if you get 30 out of 30, that's 100%.
Yeah.
But English, like that assignment, that's subjective. That's, the teacher who's marking it can like or not like.
Yeah.
Well, I guess there's two of us as well. So we read the stories and we have different views, different marks.
How far apart are they?
Converge. Sometimes, I mean, they're usually not too far apart on the big picture.
Yeah.
So we'll get most of the stories in the
roughly
same ballpark.
in the same ballpark.
But when you get to the very top stories, we'll usually have different opinions on which ones are better than others. Kind of right at the top.
You have to fight at the end.
I was going to say...
Yeah, battle it out.
Yeah, and there are prizes.
Yeah.
And big prizes.
Yeah, decent prizes. So
what I wanted to know was, and then I found it, I went looking through all your FAQs down the bottom, and I saw that. I think this is what I saw anyway, is that there's an entry fee, and is that where, because is there sponsorship? Do you have sponsors, advertisers, anything like that?
We do for the flash fiction competition, so that's the erotic competition.
That's an adult store of some sort.
So that one's free to enter?
Yeah, that's free to enter.
Oh.
So it's sponsored. So
which is also possibly a title of one of the entries you'll get.
Could be.
Free to enter.
You should enter.
Also, another possible title.
Rabbit's going to have to pay our jar. So
I think so.
Oh, no. What did I do? Innuendo?
the innuendo jar, yes. You owe us $2.
Isn't it funny how innuendo, I just heard it then, sounds like innuendo?
$3.
You're really lacking up a bill here.
It's funny the things that I can say on this that I could never say on the radio. I've got decades worth of stuff that's just coming out now.
Oh, I couldn't survive 5 minutes on the radio. They're hitting that dump button.
Oh, no, I've heard you. Yeah. In fact,
that's just what stays in the episode.
Wow, that's funny. So also in the FAQs down the bottom there, I spotted, I think there was a thing about AI.
Yeah.
And, because AI can churn out a story in seconds.
Sure can.
Do you reckon any are coming through?
So far, I don't think that it can churn out a good story.
No.
And especially with flash fiction, it's very formulaic. You can usually tell.
M dashes and N dashes.
Yeah, there's ways that...
Supposedly, yeah. In fact, we received a story about that.
We did.
We did. We received a story that was on that topic of how AI has the M dashes and N dashes and how that kind of... that the author wanted to use them.
They couldn't.
And the story was about that.
I get it. Because I've gone back. So I've been looking at this because every post I see that has them in it. And for those who don't know, the M dash and the N dash, I didn't even know what they were about 3 months ago. I'd never heard of them. But it's the big long dash.
Yeah.
And then the medium-sized dash. And we only ever use the little dash.
Yeah.
But in writing... if you're writing correctly, you should be using them. They absolutely have their place. Yep. I'm constantly telling Chad, who's my Chat GPT, that use Australian spelling, and bro, we don't even have that key on our keyboards. And I say it like that. I actually have a shortcut on my keyboard now.
Okay.
Because I'll get him to write lots for me. It's Chad. And I'll get him to write lots for me, but then I go through everything.
Yeah.
And it just saves me time of typing out, especially when it's stuff I do all the time. I can't believe he's got a great memory and he'll learn these things, right? But I cannot override the M dashes and the N dashes.
Interesting.
So I have a key on my keyboard that when I hit it, it writes, remember to use Australian spelling and never any M dashes or N dashes. So I hit that and it pastes that in, and then I hit enter.
Amazing.
And I have to do that after everything.
You know what I read the other day? There was, I think I sent you the link with AI. They've started adding these hidden characters in the text.
Don't tell the secret.
So, yes, if you copy and paste it into whatever your submission is, those hidden characters will stay in there, and there's software that can pick that up and show you, yep, this was AI.
Well, my son's at uni, and he is, he's so against AI. He just doesn't, I love his perspective, and it's tough because I am 110% on board with it. I can see what I can use it for. I did it all through my radio career. When I started, I was playing records, and then it went into CDs, and then it went to the carts, and then the computers and everything. And I stayed on the cutting edge of all of that because you're gone. You get left behind. And so with AI, every day I'm going, what can I use it for to improve what I'm doing? And so I'm a mad fan of it, and he can't stand it.
I think that's great, though, because it's, I mean, you've got to be a technophile, right? You've got to love technology to want to adopt AI in various, and there's a whole bunch of ways, and we're just talking about ChatGPT writing for you. But in the world that we live in, so in the creative writing world, it's almost universally despised because people are saying, well, that's what we don't want AI to do. Exactly. We don't want AI to take the art away from humans, basically. Go do all our grunt work. Like, for example, the writing that you would normally have to do yourself that is not creative, that's just kind of stuff you have to do. Yeah, okay, get a hand with that. But yeah, in this community, it's to the point where people just outright reject it and don't want to know about it. But I mean, we're a bit more open to it, I suppose. But when it comes to entering a writing competition, hell no.
Well,
what are we judging?
That's not the point.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. So anyone who would be entering with an AI entry is just trying to win the prize.
Yeah. And you're cheating yourself, though, because you're not improving your own craft.
Yeah.
You're not having, we talked about the story being your baby. It's not your baby anymore. It's just a piece of technology that created some words and put them together.
Yeah.
Like, you don't have that sense of satisfaction that you get from writing something.
I use it collaboratively as like I had a coworker there with me who's better at this stuff than I am, so I bounce ideas off them, but I don't have a coworker. So that's kind of what I use it for. But yeah, my son, he was saying about the uni assignments and that, and you know, he knows of people that are just ChatGPT can knock it all out. And the problem is then, so he's studying ancient history. He just did an assignment where he was saying that it was funny in the way that it was done. There were 10 questions that could potentially be asked. It's like doing your driving license test. He said there's 10 questions you could potentially be asked. You'll only be asked, it was either 3 or 5 of them, but you've got to prepare for all of them. And the funny thing was, once the exam happens, it's actually just copy and paste the answer that you wrote before.
Oh,
okay. So you've already got it. You've already done all of the work. And he goes, and it ended up being the most basic ones.
Yeah, of course,
whereas
naturally.
I put all this effort into these others. And I said, yeah, but you know what that experience is actually all about? That's all gone into your brain.
Yeah.
All 10 things that you researched are in your brain. And you want to get into this field of ancient history. No one wants to come to you, whatever he's doing, if he's teaching ancient history at a university or he's teaching history at a school, and someone goes, but wait, when the Roman Empire, like, how did that happen? And he goes, give me 1 sec. And gets his phone out.
Yeah.
Like, that's actually why he fell in love with, he's a writer, right from things he wrote from like the age of, I don't know, 5, 7, somewhere. We were just looking and going, this is crazy. You would not believe that he wrote it. I put up a piece the other day on Anzac Day of something he wrote when he was 11 for school. Better than anything I could write, and he was 11. He's 20 now, and we always thought he was going to be an author. We can see that there's just different ways to write. No.
So non-fiction, you think he would be writing like a history textbook, for example? I
still don't know what he's going to do. Like, I look at what he's studying and that, and he loves it. And it came from, he went to Gosford High, and he had a history teacher there. I don't know if they did ancient history, modern history then. Is it called modern history?
Yeah.
Right, that sounded weird coming out of modern history. Future history? Was that? That's Back to the Future. And he had a teacher who was just great at telling stories.
Yeah, right.
And that's what
history is.
That's what history is. And he would tell these stories, and Jordan was engaged in it, you know.
Well, how did you produce these 2 children who are clearly very good at English, love to write?
Love writing, really good students. Yeah, I don't know. I guess it's that lady upstairs.
The strange woman who lives in your house.
Doing? Maybe you need to go find out.
I don't need to. If I step in, don't mess with the recipe. All right. Well, hey, I've absolutely loved having you guys in here. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
That's
thanks
really
for having
cool.
us.
Anything else we need to cover before we go? I mean, obviously not quite right with a WRITE is the name of the podcast. Check that out.
Check out the podcast. Check out the writing competition if you're at all interested, if you've ever fancied yourself a writer. Flesh fiction is a great way of getting into it.
Flesh fiction?
Both flesh fiction and flesh fiction. Whatever floats your boat.
And another title. And another title. Whatever floats your boat, get into it. And imagine someone just starting, just their first entry is a flesh fiction one, and it's just because they've heard that you've got to write about something unsexy that you find sexy. And they're just going, oh, thank God, I've got an outlet.
Now's my time to shine.
Yeah. It absolutely is your outlet, if that's the case. Bring it on. But I would just say, I think, you're talking about your son, liking to write. This whole world, we got into it kind of by accident. I've always loved to write. I guess I never knew what flash fiction was. And I just kind of went, I'll just give it a go. And in this world where we're all so time poor, it's a beautiful way to be creative. We challenge our participants to write a story in a weekend. And so you've got a weekend and then you've got a story that's all your own. Whether you win or not, okay, you've done something.
Do you know what else that is? That's mindfulness.
Absolutely.
When you're... I'm working with this company now, Grumpy Ginger Yarn Co., and I'm doing work with them, and I know nothing about knitting. It's so funny. I'm also working with Little Lunch Cafe, who do this incredible coffee. They've got this Owner coffee, which is apparently a really, really amazing coffee, and there's only 2 places on the coast that have it. And they're telling me all these things, and I'm giving them ideas for posts and things and ways to promote it. And the other day in the meeting, I was like, I know nothing about knitting, and I've never had a coffee in my life. But you guys do. and I can help you tell the story.
Tell the story. Absolutely.
Yeah. But on the knitting thing, that is a real mindfulness thing. That's something I found. It's a real, people are getting into it for the fact that when you're sitting down doing that, you get lost in that. Same as if you're sitting down to write something, that's all you're doing. You can't be thinking about the other things.
No, that's it. And you spend a whole week obsessing over, the writing prompts that you've been given and your story idea, and it's lovely to just escape the real world.
Escape the real world and come into it now. And you.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's really cool. Amanda and Ed, thank you so much for coming in. This has been awesome.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
It's the Podman Podcast with Rabbit.
That'll get edited down to about 12 minutes.
Okay.
I'm very familiar with that.
Oh, hey, just before you go, a little heads up. There's a couple of brand new shows that are now part of the Podvan Media family, and I'd love you to check them out. They are brilliant. First up, Beyond the Tube with Fee Roderick. This is a podcast for parents and carers navigating life with a tube-fed child. This is something Fee knows about firsthand through her journey with her son Ezra.
5 days after his first birthday, we were admitted to Gosford Public Hospital, where we stayed for 5 nights. An NG was inserted 24 hours after we were admitted because he was failure to thrive. Within about 3 weeks, we saw a huge drop. He still looked very healthy. If I showed you photos of what he looked like at that stage, you would think, there's nothing wrong with him. He's a chubby little boy and he looks good. He did. He looked really good. But my breast milk was all that was keeping him alive.
Even if you're not in that world, it's a really good listen. And then there's Safari Life with Bobby Joe. Now, she's out in the wild, literally sending me incredible stories from wherever she is in the world. This one's from Tanzania with a local guide she's been using for the last 10 years. And what a story.
The baby elephant came up and started touching the car, and the mother, for a good 5-10 minutes, she tried to get this calf away, and she was getting quite frustrated, and we stayed very quiet.
They don't know whether it's people or we are another certain type of animals in the wild, but the way she was care about her baby, trying to pull her baby away while keep her eye on us, it was incredible experience.
She gave us a look, and it was like a look of, she was just definitely trying to assess what was happening in the car, if there's any threat.
Yeah.
I just love the stories we're getting out of these. Both shows are live now, so you can just search up Safari Life or Beyond the Tube in the same app you're in now.